Shanti. SpARC audiobook Avyakt stage. Part 3. Avyakt Murli date 23/1/1970. What speciality is needed in the service that you are doing nowadays? You have been giving lectures for many years anyway, but what Avyakt consciousness do you now have to fill the lectures with, so that while you are speaking, everyone has the experience that you are speaking in a bodiless stage, beyond sound? Now there should be this newness in this conference. Those speakers should appear to be visibly different from the Brahmin speakers, even from a distance. Only then will the conference be successful. Even if a new person comes into the gathering, he should have the feeling, even from a distance, that the speaker is a unique person. Others have the power of speech that simply remains a pleasure for the ears. However, whatever you say while stable in an Avyakt stage should not only be pleasing to the ears, but it should also be pleasing to the mind. There are many who relate things that simply please the ears, but until now, there has been no one in the world who can give that sweetness to the mind. The Father has revealed Himself to you children, but you children now have to be revealed to the world outside. So this conference should not take place in an ordinary way. Also mention in the meeting that the pictures should also seem to be alive, just as the living being makes the corporeal feelings clear. In the same way, the pictures should become alive and grant visions. When a picture is lifelike, it reveals real feelings and is liked by everyone. It is not a question of superficial art, but with the superficial, the internal, inner feelings portrayed should be the same. Bap Dada wishes to see this newness. Speaking less should in itself perform a great task. This is the system and custom of Brahmins. Pay attention to how you can make this conference unique. There should be subtle life in the images too, so that people are able to feel that from a distance. Otherwise, how will so many subjects be created? The subjects that are created are not created just through words, but through the internal stage. Only that is called the experience of internal happiness. All of you have seen the result up to now of how those who came through the Avyakt stage have continued to move along easily from the beginning and are free from obstacles. However, it is seen that those who have continued to move along on the basis of something else, as well as the Avyakt stage, have had many obstacles and difficulties, etc., and have had to make hard effort. Therefore, now create such subjects who, on the basis of the foundation of an Avyakt stage, easily attain their aim in a short time, to the extent that you remain an easy effort maker and in an Avyakt powerful stage, so you will be able to make others similar to yourself. So we shall now see the result of this conference. The conference can be on any topic, but your stage should be of the top level. If your stage is of the top level, you can adjust the topic accordingly. Success is not dependent on the lectures, but on your stage. Lectures mean being an expert in the use of language, and there are many such people in the world, but you are the only ones who will give the experience of power within the soul. So, you now have to bring about this newness. When you perform any task, it is first essential to make the atmosphere subtle, just as you pay attention to all the other decorations in the same way. This is the main decoration. However, what happens is that while you are moving along, there is too much extroversion. Therefore, because of that last atmosphere, you do not have the result that you want. You people think a great deal. We will do this, we will do it like this. But at the last moment, while seeking the task, you come into extroversion. Anyway, those who listen say at the same time that it is very good, but then they too very quickly become extroverted. This is why you should have such a program that anyone who comes first experiences the subtle influence. This is the method for success of the conference. You will have to create this atmosphere a few days prior to the conference. It isn't that you have to create it on just that day. Only when you purify the atmosphere will newness be visible. You were able to see the spirituality in the corporeal body even from a distance, were you not? So, there should be spirituality visible in the corporeal bodies of the children. Now, if you keep the line of your intellect clear, everything will become clear. Just as in your exhibition, you receive an answer when you put the switch on. In the same way, when the line of effort is clear, as soon as you press the switch of thoughts, that too happens practically. You will continue to have such an experience. You simply need the power to control waste thoughts. Because of having waste thoughts, whether you call it an original inspiration from Bap Dada or a pure response you receive, they become mixed because there are too many waste thoughts. If you have the power to control wasteful thoughts, you will be able to see the response clearly. In the same way, if the intellect is a trance light, then every response becomes clear and accurate, not mixed. Those who do not have wasteful thoughts can increase their Avyakt stage a lot more. You should have pure thoughts, but you must also have the power to control them. In the majority of you, the storms of wasteful thoughts are greater. Give the experience of what the Avyakt stage is. Everyone should see the clock of time in your activity. You are going as the clock of time, just as Sakar Baba became the clock of time. In the same way, while having a body, you have to strike the hour of the Avyakt stage. This is the best service of all. You have to teach everyone the practical lesson of the experience of the Avyakt stage while in the corporeal body. Acha. Having come to the Avyakt Bhatti, do you experience the Avyakt stage? What will you do with the experiences that you have here? Will you take them with you or will you leave them behind? Make them such companions that no matter how much someone tries to separate you from this Avyakt attraction, they are not able to do so. Have you made your Lokik family into an Alokik family? There shouldn't be the slightest Lokik awareness. When you shed one body and take another, you are not aware of anything of the previous birth. So here also, you have died a living death. So, your vision and attitude of the previous birth should be finished in the same way. Alokik service takes place only when you fill the Lokik with spirituality. What alokik service do you do? You are doing the service of forging a connection of the soul with the powerhouse. When a connection has to be made between two wires, the rubber insulation first has to be removed. In the same way, your first task is to consider yourself to be a soul and then make others detached from the consciousness of their bodies. Do Lokik service considering it to be alokik, and you will not then be affected by any other atmosphere. As you begin to reach your Avyakt stage, your speaking will become less. By speaking less, there will be greater benefit, and you will then do service with that power of yoga. The power of yoga and the power of knowledge are both together. At the moment, service is being done with the power of knowledge, whereas the power of yoga is incognito. However, the more you make the power of yoga and the power of knowledge equal, the more success there will be. Avyakt Murli date 26/1/1970. The Avyakt stage is the main subject. You have to pass in the subject of remaining Avyakt whilst performing actions in the corporeal world. You have to keep the line of your intellect clear. When the way is clear, you can run quickly and reach your destination. When there is any obstruction in the line of effort, then with the method of making the line clear and removing that obstruction, you are able to reach the Avyakt stage. When you come to Madhuban, each of you must give one or another special virtue. This is the memorial. The other is a non-living memorial. To remind them of your virtues is a living memorial, which they remember constantly. Whenever you go anywhere, always have the aim that your memorial should remain there for all time. If you have filled yourself with special love here and then go, love will melt even stone into water. So take with you this gift of spiritual love through which you can attain victory over anything. Do you think there is a lot of time or little time? So you now have to try to reach 100% in the little time that remains. You have to use all the courage you have. You have to pay so much attention that even 1 second is not wasted. How great is even 1 second of the confluence age? You have to use both your time and your energy and thoughts in a worthwhile way. The task which cannot be accomplished by the big ones can be accomplished by the little ones. Now that task is still remaining. Up until now, it's fine that you have just been running, but now you will only be able to reach your aim if you take a jump. To transform many things in 1 second means to take a jump. Do you have this much courage? Whatever you have heard, you definitely have to bring that about in your practical life. You have to become like the one you have love for. So to assimilate all the virtues of Bap Dada into the self is the responsibility of love. You have to assimilate into yourself the greatness of the Father. This is love. Bap Dada is sitting here and you are also sitting here. But what is the difference between Bap Dada and you? Previously, Baba used to sit here in Sakar form. But what do you now feel when you sit here? Just as Baba used to feel that he had taken a corporeal body on loan to come here, do you have the same experience? Now Baba comes as a guest. In fact, all of you also consider yourself to be guests. But there is a difference between Baba considering himself to be this and you considering yourself this. A guest is someone who comes and goes. He comes now in order to go back. That was the experience of the intellect's yoga, and this is now the practical experience. You have to experience in the same way as Baba how to enter another body and perform actions. Day by day, the stage of you children will become more and more like the Father's stage. You will also feel as though you have truly taken that body on loan, that you are guests just in order to perform actions. Unless you consider yourselves to be the guests, you cannot have the stage of detachment. What is the speciality of those who stay in the stage of detachment for a long time? Through their words and behavior, others can experience the stage of being beyond. The higher the stage becomes, the more you will experience being beyond. Whilst in a body, you have to reach the stage of being beyond. You should experience the bodiless one, the soul being separated from the body. This is called the complete stage of the pilgrimage of remembrance, or the practical result of yoga. Whilst speaking, the stage of detachment should pull you. Whilst listening to anything, it should be as though you are not hearing it. Others too should have this feeling. Such a stage is called the Karmatit stage. Karmatit means to be free from any bondage of the body. You should also be performing actions but not be creating any karmic accounts through those actions. It is as though you are detached, that there is no attachment. The one who is performing actions is separate from the action itself. Day by day, you will continue to have such an experience. There is no need to use your intellect a lot when you have reached this stage. As soon as you have a thought, only that which has to happen takes place. Everyone has to reach this stage. Before arriving in the incorporeal real world, you first have to go to the subtle region. Everyone has to meet there. Then you will go to your home and then to your own kingdom. Just as there is the gathering in the corporeal world, so in the same way the gathering will take place in the subtle region. That gathering of angels is very close. You used to relate stories of how angels would meet together, how the spirits would converse with the spirits. You will have the same experience. You will have the practical experience of the stories that you related. You are now waiting in anticipation for the days of that gathering. Avyakt Murli date 29/5/1970. The time seems to have come so close. Can you make a calculation? Do you also have in front of you the aim of your perfect form as well as your future qualifications? What would be the signs of closeness? In some cases, when someone is about to leave his body, many others come to know about it in advance. You will also experience the body to be as detached as though you have adopted it and are making it function. The sign of a close bead coming closer is that soul will constantly see in front of him his angelic form and his future form. He will experience these in a practical form. He will see his angelic form of light in front of him and be aware that he has to become that, and he will also see his future form. It will be as though He has now renounced his present form and taken on that form. When you have this experience, then you should understand that you are coming close to perfection. There is complete form in one eye and the future form in another eye. This will be visible as clearly as you experience your perfect form. Whilst sitting, there will be the experience that you are not sitting here, but are sitting in that perfect form. This body that is making effort will become totally merged, and those two forms will emerge. On one side, the Avyakt form, and on the other side, the future form. When you yourselves have this experience, then others will also have this experience. You will experience it in the same way that you take off one garment and put on another. This one will merge and that one will emerge. You will forget this one. There is also willpower in this stage. In the same way, when something is willed over, after it has been willed, the experience of the consciousness of that thing being yours is totally finished, and it is not your responsibility anymore. You will receive willpower, and you also have the experience that you have already willed everything. Everything, including your thoughts, should be willed. It is might to renounce even the awareness of the body and to will everything, including your thoughts. Then there will be the stage of being equal to the Father. Being equal and being complete are the same thing. You are now have to maintain this chart. That chart is common. Then even whilst having a body of the 5 elements, you will experience being in the form of light. You were told of the different meanings of the word light. Light means lightness, and light also means the form of light. Total lightness, as though you have become the form of light and are making the body work, as though you are the instrument. When in the Avyakt form, you receive help in every aspects. Acha. Avyakt Murli date 7/6/1970. If you have the practice of catching thoughts, you will easily be able to become free from thoughts. When you cannot discern someone's thoughts, you have to create extra thoughts. However, if each of you has the practice of being able to read someone's thoughts, there would not be too many wasteful thoughts, and you would also be easily able to stabilize yourself in a stable stage with one thought in 1 second. So, to be able to read someone's thoughts is also a sign of perfection. The more you stabilize yourself in Avyakt feelings, the more easily you will be able to understand everyone else's feelings. The reason for not being able to understand the feelings of one another is a lack of Avyakt feelings. The Avyakt stage is a mirror. When you stabilize yourself in the Avyakt stage, you will clearly be able to see the intentions of any person in the mirror of the Avyakt stage. You won't have to labor at that time. A mirror does not have to make effort to understand anyone's feelings. The more Avyakt your stage becomes, the clearer and more powerful the mirror will be, and the more easily and clearly you will be able to understand the feelings of one another. In order to keep the mirror of the Avyakt stage clean and clear, 3 things are necessary. Tell Baba any one of those 3 things. Each one gave his own ideas. Today, Baba is seeing the easiness, including simplicity and lightness, the greatness and the tolerance of each one. By imbibing just one of these three things accurately, would the mirror be clear? If even one is missing, the stains of that weakness will be visible in the mirror. Therefore, in whatever task you carry out, check three things. There should be easiness in everything. There should also be tolerance, and it should also be elevated. It should not be ordinary. At present, in some cases, everything seems ordinary rather than elevated. Change the ordinary into elevated and keep tolerance in front of you in every aspect. Imbibe ease and simplicity in your face and your words, and then see how elevated success in service and the tasks you carry out is. Do you experience the Avyakt stage? When you experience the Avyakt stage for even 1 second, the effect of that lasts for a long time. The experience of the Avyakt stage is powerful. Put gross feelings away from yourself as much as possible and stay in the Avyakt stage. By staying in the Avyakt stage, all your thoughts will become successful. In this, you have to make less effort and have greater attainment, whereas by making effort while stable in the gross form, it takes more effort and it has less attainment. Then, while moving along, there is confusion and hopelessness. Therefore, by having Avyakt stage, you can increase the experience of all attainments. Avyakt Murli date 18/6/1970. Just as Bap Dada has come into this corporeal from the Avyakt in 1 second, in the same way, can the children become Avyakt from corporeal in 1 second? Just as you open your mouth when you wish and close it when you wish, in the same way, do you think your practice is such that you can make your intellect work when you wish and make it stop working when you wish? Although the organ of the mouth is gross and the intellect is much more subtle than that, do you have such practice of using your intellect in the same way when you want and not using it when you don't want to? Do you know this drill? If you have this practice firmly, you will be able to make your stage strong. This is the method to make your stage progress. Many children have the thought, how can we progress? There can be progress with the right method. If you do not know the right method, there will not be progress. Today, Bap Dada is seeing both the progress and the method of each of you. What scene would Bap Dada have seen? Each of you can check and ask yourself, am I progressing? Many raised their hands. The majority was content with their progress. Acha. For how long do you remain in the Avyakt stage throughout the day? Baba is not asking about the point form, but for how long do you stay in the Avyakt stage? Bap Dada is asking you, keeping your perfect stage in front of him, whereas you are thinking, keeping your past efforts in front of you. There is so much difference. At the present time, what is the main subject of your study? The main subject you are studying is to maintain the Avyakt stage for the maximum period. The result is very low in the main subject. What are 1 or 2 hours of remembrance in front of the complete stage of staying in constant remembrance? Do you have the method in your intellect of creating your Avyakt stage over a long period of time? If you have the method, then why isn't there any progress? What is the reason for this? although the complete knowledge of the method is clear in your intellect, there is still one thing you do not know how to do, due to which there isn't any progress, even though you have knowledge of it. What is this aspect? Acha, today, Bap Dada is telling you how to progress. The one aspect you do not know how to do is that whereas you know how to create expansion and go into expansion, it is the practice of packing up and merging the expansion that is lacking. You know how to go into expansion of knowledge, but the practice of merging the expansion of knowledge and becoming an embodiment of knowledge, the seed form, is lacking. A lot of time is wasted by going into expansion, and even thoughts are wasted. This is why the power that should be accumulating is not accumulating. Today, Baba is telling you what plan you should create for this. Avyakt Murli date 25/6/1970. What is the language of subtle region? At present, the Avyakt has to take the support of the corporeal for the sake of the residents of the corporeal world, in order to speak the same way that they do. In the subtle region, a lot of it can be clarified in 1 second. Here in your world, it can be clarified after a lot of speaking. This is the difference between the corporeal language and the subtle language. Can you understand from Bap Dada's signals what Bap Dada is seeing today? Through signs, you can catch conversations and scenes from a long distance away. In the same way, on the basis of your Avyakt stage, can't you catch the things that are directly in front of you? Avyakt Murli date 24/7/1970. What stage would you call the stage that everyone is sitting in at present? Do you have the Avyakt stage while being in the corporeal? Can you stabilize yourself in the stage of a point while you are meeting Bap Dada? A few gave their own ideas. At what time are you especially able to create the stage of stabilizing as a point? Is it when you sit in solitude, or can you also have the stage while walking and moving around? The final effort is that of remembrance. This is why it is necessary for your intellect to understand clearly the stage of remembrance and your own experience. What is the stage of point form and what is the Avyakt stage? What is the experience of each of them? Because there are two names, there must definitely be a difference between the experiences of the two. At present, while walking and moving around, the stage of being stable in the point form is not just lacking, but it is almost non-existent. You should also practice this stage. You should be able to take a few minutes in between and practice the stage of the point form. Those who are able to have an angelic stage, that is the Avyakt stage, all the time, are easily able to stabilize in the stage of the point form. If you are not stable in Avyakt stage, then you will find it difficult to stabilize yourself in the point form. This is why you must practice this now. In the beginning, in order to practice the Avyakt stage, you used to sit in solitude and make your own individual effort. In the same way, you must make effort for this final stage every now and then by making some time for it. This is the final stage of success. Om Shanti.